Think of a winter evening long before central heating. The light is going out of the sky. The wind has turned sharp, and the little fire in front of you is no longer quite enough. There are no matches in your pocket, no stove in the corner, no neat pile of dry logs waiting by the door. The branches close to camp have already been gathered, and the larger wood is wet, heavy, or simply too far away to bring back before dark. So the problem is not really how ancient people made fire. They knew fire. The harder question is how they kept warmth alive when the land itself began to run short. Cold is patient. It does not have to leap out at you. It can sit there quietly while your fingers stiffen, your feet go numb, and your thinking begins to slow. One poor shelter, one damp sleeping skin, one fire that dies too early, and survival can start to slip away by degrees. That is why a winter camp was more than a place to sleep. It was a way of holding heat. Every wall mattered, every hide mattered, every doorway mattered, and every ember had to be treated as if it were alive. Firewood, in that world, was not just wood. It was distance, labor, daylight, and risk. Archaeologists studying Gravettian camps near the Pavlov Hills have argued that firewood could shape where people camped and how long they could afford to stay there. Use the easy deadwood around a camp, and after a while, the fire is not only eating branches, it is eating the landscape. So people learn to burn what the land actually gave them. In some places that meant shrubs, reeds, grasses, or driftwood. In other places it meant peat cut and dried before winter, dried animal dung in herding landscapes, animal fat in lamps, or bone added to a fire that was already burning. That may sound strange from inside a modern house, but in a treeless place, strange is often just practical. At Paleolithic sites such as Abri-Pataude in France and Coimbre Cave in Spain, researchers have studied hearths with large amounts of burned bone. Bone was not a magic replacement for wood. It usually needed an existing fire, and it was not useful in every situation. But under the right conditions, it could give flame, light, and a little more time. So the old winter fire may not have been the clean pile of logs we imagine. It may have been a managed mixture. Wood when it was available, bone when it helped, fat where animals made that possible, and peat or dung where the landscape offered a different answer. But fuel was only half the story. The deeper trick was not to make more heat. It was to lose less of it. A large fire in a poor shelter is like pouring water into a cracked pot. You keep adding more, and it keeps disappearing. So humans made the warm space smaller. Lower roofs, thicker walls, small entrances, windbreaks, hides, snow, earth, turf, anything that slowed the escape of warmth. This is why some cold climate houses look almost buried. Icelandic turf houses used thick turf walls and sod roofs because insulation mattered in a place where timber was limited. In the Arctic, packed snow could become shelter because trapped air slows heat loss. Traditional Inuit snow houses worked with body heat and seal oil lamps to create a pocket of survivable air in a much colder world outside. The rule was simple, but powerful. Do not heat the whole world. Heat the smallest space the bodies can share. Clothing followed the same rule. Fur, hide, wrapped feet, tightened openings, layered skins. These were not accessories. They were portable shelter. A good winter outfit turned the body into a small house, because the body was the one fire you could not allow to go out. Food mattered for the same reason. Heat is not only made in flames, it is made inside the body. Fat, dried meat, fish, stored roots, grain, preserved food. Without food, a fire could still burn while people froze beside it. In winter, hunger and cold were not separate dangers. They worked together. And then there was the most human fuel of all: other people. Families slept close. Children stayed near adults. People gathered in the warmest room. In some northern house forms, animals shared the building or stayed close enough that their bodies became part of the winter environment. Not because it was pleasant, because winter cared about energy, not comfort. So the real answer is planning. Peat had to dry before it could burn. Dung had to be stored. Hides had to be prepared. Food had to be preserved. Routes had to be remembered. The group had to know when to stay, when to move, and when a camp was quietly becoming a trap. That is the ancient signal still hiding inside modern winter. The first cold day arrives, and people check the heater. They close the windows. They buy food. They pull out blankets. They ask whether family is safe, because heat is not just comfort, it is security. Ancient humans did not survive winter because they defeated cold. They survived because they respected it. They burned what they could, wasted as little as possible, turned shelters into heat traps, clothing into walls, and food into internal fire. And when one body was not enough, they became more than one body. A woodpile is one way to survive winter. A whole culture is another.